Paul from Alexander Knife Sharpen and Laser Engraving. So I just wanted to give you a little brief about what this particular video is about and a couple of things that I'm going to have coming out soon. So I will be doing a new shop tour video this weekend at some point, and I will be releasing that. This video, I had a customer come back in with some more Kamakoto ceramic steel knives. Couldn't find anyone to sharpen them. I kind of felt bad for him. He's like, hey, I got these knives. They cost me almost $300 and no one will sharpen them. He had actually done the same thing that another client had done. They mailed them in and they got them sent back. They sharpened all their metal knives and said, oh, we're not touching these. I told him, I'm willing to give it a shot. I said, I have some things I would actually like to experiment on these knives. Just know, like, we're taking a risk here, but I'm trying to see if I can come up with an in-house method to get these done faster. My thought process was, let's take them to a low-speed grinder with a CBN wheel, which is going to be way faster than the Tormek. So I know I can do them on a Tormek, but I'm looking at an hour and a half time to do one knife, which is way too long. I have to charge someone 50, 60 bucks to sharpen that ceramic steel knife to even think about making it close to worth my time. My thought was, let's try a low-speed grinder. At 1700 RPMs, we should be decreasing the amount of time significantly because it's close to probably 18 times faster overall. We're going to have to move quick. We don't want to overheat the knife. I thought, you know what? That might be the solution. And that's what I'm doing here. So I'm showing you me attempting to sharpen this ceramic steel knife and what the results are. And then at the end of it, I switched to bringing it over to a Tormek to see if I could maybe finish it off and get it even better going to 1000 grit. And you'll see what happened there. And then I'll give you my summation at the end of what I think in general about these ceramic steel knives and what you should do if you want to get into that game of sharpening them. Hey everyone, it's Paul from Alexander Knife Sharpening and Laser Engraving. So I have an update for you guys on the Kamakoto ceramic steel knives. And if you remember me talking about what a nightmare these things were to sharpen, and another person came in with them and they could not get anyone to sharpen them. Like I said, a lot of the online places are turning these things away. And if you run into one of these, you'll see why. So it will, if you're sharpening on a belt sharpener, it's going to destroy your belts and you'll go through a ton of belts. You basically probably need a diamond belt to do it. And a lot of people don't have the diamond belts. And if you try and do it on a Tormek machine, you will just want to kill yourself with the amount of time it takes. It just takes forever. And then the problem I kept getting was a lot of times it was just as it was about to get sharp, it seemed like it would just fracture and just wouldn't get sharp. And I had an idea and I wanted to try it out, and I think this is going to work and not take too long. So a couple things that are kind of a rule of thumb with sharpening ceramic knives. One is you need to go edge trailing. So this is not an edge leading operation. Even if you want to go faster, it's not something you do with a ceramic knife. So do not go edge leading. So I have my Jet low speed grinder here, which runs about 1700 RPMs with 2 CBN wheels on here. And this one is 380 grit. And my goal is I am going to sharpen this with 380 grit CBN wheel right on this low speed grinder, and that's it. And I think this is going to work out just great. And I'm going to show you, we'll go back and forth to the microscope, and I'll show you what you have to look for, because the other thing with a ceramic steel knife is you're never going to get a burr. Okay? It doesn't create a burr ever. So you have to apex it basically perfectly. So that's the hardest part, is kind of knowing when to stop, because I have found if you do too much, sometimes you end up breaking your apex off and having to start over again. So I'm going to just go at it edge trailing on my jet low speed grinder here with a 380 grit CBM. We'll go take a look at the microscope so you can see what I'm seeing, and then we'll do some testing. But I think this will work, and I think this will be fairly quickly, and maybe I can change my policy on not sharpening these anymore because I think this is going to work just fine. And the reason I don't do these on the Tormac is because it will literally take you an hour and a half to do a knife, if not longer. But we're dealing with a considerably faster speed here. You know, we're talking 1700 RPMs. This is probably how the factory is sharpening these more, with something a bit more high speed, but still not so high speed that it's overheating the knife. But I don't even know how much that even matters so much on a ceramic steel. But here we go. So let's see what happens. So I'm just going to get started here. That's one of the great things with this new Tormac angle setter for knives. It does work on pretty much anything that has a round wheel. And the nice thing about my setup here, which I got this from Woodturner's Wonders, which this is the Kodiak mount. They have a Tormac mount set up for it. Put this on here. Let's do the knife first. So the first thing we got to do is get the proper distance for the knife blade. It's a little different doing it on this machine, as you can see, but it's no big deal. All right, so there's my proper distance. So I'm going to make one small adjustment to this because I want to sharpen this at 15. So I'm going to, it's a little tricky on here, so I have to unloosen this mount here. And this whole thing kind of slides in and out. And then I have to adjust here. And now, that didn't take much. And that's 15. So I'm going to lock that in. Okay. So the first thing you will see, this is going to be much faster. You'll actually see some sparks coming off of it. And it's just different because, again, this is also edge trailing. So the wheel is going away from me. Okay, so let's go take a look at the digital microscope and see what we see. And I'm going to show you in a later video today that I'm going to shoot the updated shop. I did make some changes, and I think you'll like them. All right. So you guys see? So what we want to do is we want to grind all the way down until that's gone. So see how raggedy and and like not straight that apex is? So we have not apexed this yet. And we want to go all the way down, and when we get there, we want to stop. So we want to stop right when we apexed it. Because remember, never going to raise a burr. We're not going to feel a burr. We have to keep doing equal strokes on each side. And as we go down here, we should be getting closer and closer and closer to apexing it. And then on a ceramic knife, you just have to stop right when it's apex because there's no burr to remove. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, kind of like when I'm balancing a lawnmower blade. And we'll get this done. So let's get it apexed. I'm going to do probably, let's do about 7 strokes on each side and see how it looks. Okay, let's come back over and take a look and see how close we are getting to apexing this. It is feeling sharper every time. I don't think it doesn't feel to me like it's been apexed though. Not yet. I don't think we're there. I think we still have more work to do. Aha! And you can see, look how close we are. So we're almost apexed. All right, so this time I'm going to do 3 strokes each side, 3 and 3, and then go back to the scope. That's feeling sharper. Finally feeling like a sharp knife should. Let's see how close we are. I bet we're pretty close. Oh yeah, look at that. We are right on the precipice of it, so pretty darn close. All right, so let's do it again. And I'm going to go light and I'm going to go fast, but I'm going to do another three strokes. I want to get it just apexed and then stop. It feels quite good, but I still don't know that we're exactly there yet. So let's swing back over, and this is probably just going to be the hardest part, is the going back and forth a bit until we know. Oh, look. I think probably 3 more will do it, but let's find out. Let's see what happens. You can see we are almost perfectly apex there. We're almost there. Okay, back to the scope. Oh, it's so close. Yeah, you can see it's really close. Yeah, really close to getting that old edge off. All right, let's keep going though. We're right there. It feels quite good. I still think there might be a little bit of edge that still needs to go, but I like what I'm feeling, and compared to how it came in, it is way better. Yeah, and you can see we're not quite there yet. We are really close. Really close. So I think what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to keep going until it feels right to me. And when this feels right to me, I'll stop. It's finally starting to feel like a sharp knife to me. Yeah. I bet we're really close. I feel a little up here in the tip. It feels a little better in the heel. But let's see what we're seeing here on the scope. Wow, we are still right at that living edge there. All right, I'm going to keep going, because I want to see if we can just get that gone, and if we're ever going to get that, we're going to get that like perfect edge. Nice straight. Closer and closer, but you can see these take a significant amount of grinding. Yeah, so I'm almost wondering if we're ever going to get a perfectly straight edge, or if that's just the nature of the ceramic. I mean, it's cutting pretty darn well compared to how it came in. But, you know, I'm thinking metal knife, but I'm just going to do 7 more strokes and then take a look at it. And if that looks the same to me, I feel pretty confident like that's how that apex is going to look. That, you know, that slightly almost serrated look to it. to my feel, this is the best it's felt so far. Let's see how it looks. So it's almost straight. You can see it is almost straight. So I'm going to go again just a little more and see. I want to see if I can get that perfectly apexed. I think we're like almost there. And that might be the real secret here, is knowing that you've just absolutely perfectly apexed this knife and then stopping. And again, do you see what I'm saying about, like, I just don't think, compared to a metal knife, that you're ever going to see that just perfect. I just don't think you're going to see that perfect line that you get. I think the nature of the ceramic is just so that you're just not going to get that. So to see if I could make it any better, I decided to put it on a 1,000 grit CBN wheel for about 10 strokes and see what happened. And I've learned from experience with ceramic knives is once you've got it pretty good, don't be afraid to stop. There comes a point where it will go and immediately feel worse if you try and do too much. Interesting. Very interesting. Look at that. So you can see, again, like you can see the Tormek line. And do you see how we're really jagged again? We have that very jagged edge, and I don't believe the Tormek line's down here. I believe it is up here. I could be wrong, but ceramic steel is just some weird stuff. Man, is it a pain. Yeah, I think exactly what I said before here. I think what happened, I think we broke that edge completely off, and it doesn't feel as good to me. It felt better at the 380. All right, so let's go back to the 380 and compare. I'm going to go do a couple strokes again and see if we were up. This will tell us if we're apexed for sure, if we were at that apex. So we were definitely apexed, as you could see, for sure. Because we took all those 1,000 grind marks out. But you can see how that end, that apex, just kind of shatters off. As you get really close to apexing, I find the best thing to do is just go very light with your stroke. And I'm going to do that right now, and then I'm stopping. Yeah, this knife is cutting, again, way better. Cutting way better. The 1,000 didn't help it at all. I'm just going to do 3 really light strokes on each side. Yeah, so this is cutting. way better. The going up to 1,000 didn't help anything. I think all it did was shear the edge off. Yep, and there you go again, look. So I think we're always going to have that just kind of serrated looking edge. And it's just a matter of knowing like, hey, now's the time to stop. And doing the light strokes, you see how much like we're straighter? But doing light strokes, and let me just back out here and I'll show you. You can see it, I mean, it's cutting nice. You know, would I buy this knife? Hell no. You know, I would never buy a ceramic knife, but this is at least cutting well. Again, the owner will be thrilled with it. It's kind of a, you know, at 380, it's definitely a toothier cut. I think a 600 CBN would probably be a really sweet spot for this, but I just don't have a 600 grit CBN for my low speed grinder. That is the highest I got is 380. And you saw what happened when I went to the 1,000 on the Tormek. It made it worse. It was just not as good. And basically what happened was that apex just kind of sheared off. So I'm going to stop here. This is how it's going back to the customer. It is cutting well. And that might be an option for you if you do want to do ceramic knives. If you have a low-speed grinder like me with CBN wheels, one, make sure you're going edge trailing, and two, use your digital scope as you get close to that apexing and it looks good. If it's cutting good, just stop. Don't get obsessed with it. Don't try and get that perfectly straight apex. I just don't think it happens. Okay? I don't think you're going to see that. I think what happens if you try and do that, you end up kind of breaking your entire apex off. All right, and that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to show you that. So this is revisiting these are Kamakoto ceramic steel knives. And that's the best solution I have for them so far if you do want to sharpen these. Okay, so here's my opinion of the ceramic steel knives and is it worth your time? I think the 350 grit CBN wheel worked really well. It was cutting well. I was happy with it. Clearly, as you can see from the video, you're never going to get that beautiful straight line that you get with a metal knife. So don't look for it. Don't think that you're going to reach that. Every time I tried to hit that point where, you know, you get that beautiful line like you see on a metal knife when you've apexed it well and then deburred it and that you know it's nice and clean and it's cutting beautifully. It just doesn't happen with ceramic steel. If you go too long, if you go too far, I feel you're literally breaking your apex off and then you're kind of having to go back and restart again. So you kind of got to watch your scope. Once it gets really close, if it's performing well, cutting well, just stop. That's my recommendation. Don't keep going. Once you're getting good paper cut tests and you feel that it's cutting well, just stop and you'll be happy and you'll have saved yourself a ton of time. Now, the only thing I can't test that I would love to is I do believe the sweet spot for this would probably be a 600 grit CBN wheel on a low speed grinder. I think that will give you a beautiful edge on a ceramic steel knife, going edge trailing, bring it down to where it looks like it's just about apexed, knowing that, yeah, that fine line is probably going to look a little jagged like you saw in all these videos, but just stop there. You're not going to get that perfect line. And I think 600 will probably be a little bit nicer edge than I was getting with the 350. But if you have a 350 like I have, don't be afraid to use it. That knife was totally fine leaving the shop. You know, I've done plenty of knives at 400 grit, especially people that like that toothier type of grind on a knife. 400 grit's about the lowest that I ever like to go. So I've done plenty of CBN Tormek wheels. I have a 400 grit. If someone tells me they like that kind of toothy grind, They don't want it super like razor sharp. They want something that they're going to feel more. I usually do that at a 400 grit. And I think 350, close enough, you'll be able to, give them that ceramic knife back cutting well. And it's just going to have a toothy feel to it. I think 600 would probably be the sweet spot. But if you don't have a 600, go ahead and use the 350. I think you'll be happy. And if I can get one, and I have come across another one of these ceramic steel knives, I will definitely do a test in the future and let you know if that 600 is that sweet spot. But at this point, I'm not going to go out and buy a CBN 600 grit wheel for my low speed grinder, because I just don't see enough of these ceramic steel knives at this point that it would be worth it for me to do that. So that's where I'll leave it. But should I come across a cheap one, a used one from somewhere, or if the guys at Woodturners Wonders, if I could convince them to send me one, then I would test it and see how that goes. But for now, I'm pretty good on the wheels I have. And if I come across one of those again, I'll probably just do it at 350 unless I can come across a 600 to test and see how that goes. All right. So look for those other videos. Shop tour. Oh, the other one I did was some anvil pruners. I did it on the Tormec. I took them apart, disassembled them, sharpened them, made a slight correction. There's a chip in it. Look for that video. And those are going to be the next couple videos coming out. Have a great day, everybody.